So this whole side of this section of notes, we're going to be talking about adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing complex numbers. And let's start by talking about adding, subtracting complex numbers. When we want to add or subtract complex numbers, what you really need to do is you need to add or subtract the real and the imaginary parts. Okay, you want to focus on each of the different parts. So this is just kind of like combining like terms. You combine the x terms and the x squared terms and the constant terms. Here we're going to be combining the real parts of the complex number and the imaginary parts. So let's just identify what the real parts are in this one for adding right here. Here I got -3, that's the real part, and we're adding that to 7. That's the real part. It doesn't have the imaginary. So what is 3 plus, or -3 plus 7? Well, -3 plus 7 is 4. Okay. And now we're going to combine the imaginary parts. So I got 5i plus -6i. 5i plus -6i is just -1i. And so I just make that as a -1. So when adding these two complex numbers, I get another complex number. In this situation, it is 4 minus I is my complex number. Okay. Let's go over to this one. Here we are going to be subtracting complex numbers. This is where I like to bring up my stop, chop, chop again when we're subtracting a whole like type of parenthesis thing. I like to stop. I like to make an addition by chopping it. But when you chop this one, you got to chop the second parenthesis and make everything inside the opposite sign. So here I'm going to chop it, make that the opposite. Here I'm going to make that the opposite. Now if those were additions, they would become subtraction when you chop them, okay? Now that we're adding, we can do the same thing as we did in the last one. We can combine the real parts. So here I'm going to combine the -3 and the +2. So -3 and +2 would be -1. And then I'm going to combine the imaginary parts. So I'm going to combine the -8 plus the +9. -8 and +9 make an I, or 1i. So my solution to this, or my complex solution, is -1 plus I. So how can you add or subtract complex numbers? The key thing is to add and subtract the imaginary parts and the real parts separately.